All right, guys, Steve Alexopoulos here for Northern Alliance. I'm super excited about this call. We're going to do it on open houses. Now, I want to start off by saying, and this might sound a bit harsh, but if you're not going to prepare for an open house, don't do the open house. You're better off staying at home. You're better off prospecting at home because it's not going to do anything for you. Okay. If you don't prepare for the open house, don't do the open house. Very, very simple. Open houses are projects, okay? The entire process takes a week. It's not just, the mistake most people make is what they'll do is they'll go on MLS, they'll put that they're doing an open house, and then, they'll wait till the morning, they'll put out some signs, and then they go into the open house, they wait for people to come. It's not going to work. Okay. If that's what you're going to do, I'm telling you right now, you're wasting your time. So don't do it. Okay. Now, if you're prepared to put in the effort and the preparation, you're going to get good results. So a lot about what I'm going to talk about has to do with the preparation for the open house. It's going to have a lot to do with the scripting on what to tell people. We're going to talk about what to do 5 days before the open house, 2 days before the open house. We're going to go over scripting, some objections. We're going to be going over a lot of different things. But it starts off when you decide you're going to do the open house. So I'm going to share my screen here because I have a full presentation. Somebody go on mute, please. Okay. So we're going to start off. Everyone see my screen?
Yes.
So let's start off. What's the purpose of an open house? Okay. Why are you doing it? The number one reason, and I want you guys to go in the comments. What's the number one reason for the open house? You can say it out loud, actually. I want this to be interactive. So take yourself off mute and tell me what's the number one reason for the open house?
To get leads.
Wrong.
Find a qualified
What's the number
buyer.
one reason?
To get
Wrong.
feedback from buyers.
To sell the property.
The seller.
To sell the property. Good job, Natalie. You're there to sell the freaking property. Now, why is that important? Okay. It's not just important because you're trying to sell the property. It's important to the people coming in. Remember, 80% of people that want to buy a house have to sell a house first. So they're going to be watching you and how you sell that property. Can you sell them that property? Are you going to speak highly of the property? Are you going to give all the details? Are you going to know all the demographics? Are you going to know all the average list price, sale prices? Are you going to know the average days on market? Are you going to know all that? That's what's important. Okay. It's not just to get leads. It's to sell the property, because when you sell the property, and I don't mean actually the sale. I mean, you have to sell the property because people are going to be watching you, because when it comes time to sell their home, because remember, it's not only buyers. When I do open houses, and I haven't done them in a little while, but when I was doing open houses, okay, I was hunting for sellers, not just buyers. I was hunting for sellers. Remember, 80% of people have a property they have to sell before they buy. So that's the mindset you should have before you go into the open house. Now, the second reason, the second purpose of an open house is to generate leads. How do you generate leads? Okay. How do you generate leads? You don't just put a few signs up and wait for something to happen. Remember, it's a project. It starts way before the open house even comes to play. I'm also going to be going over expireds, FSBOs. I'm going to tie everything into this. Okay. Just want to make sure this is being recorded. Sure. Okay, it is being recorded. Good. So preparing for an open house. An open house is a project. Okay. So what do I mean by that? I mean that about 5, even 7 days before the open house happens, you have to start promoting it. Okay. Now, where does that start? Start through social media. Okay. Video content, studying the neighborhood for open house preparation, field reports, door knocking the streets, for sale by owner door knocking, expired door knocking. Be intentional about the open house. Okay. And I'm going to get into a whole bunch of details, so just try and follow along. Okay. 5 days prior to the open house, install the open house topper. Don't do it Saturday. Do it Wednesday or Thursday. The topper is the Sunday 2 to 4 on the top of the sign. Okay. 5 days before is when you want to do it. Okay. Film social media content to promote the upcoming open house. Right? So what do I mean by that? You're going to take a video of yourself at the home, and you're going to sell the property on social media. If you want to get real, if you really want to spend some money, do a boosted ad of the open house. Okay? This isn't only about promoting the open house, it's about promoting you so that people see that you're actually working for them when you list the home. That's the important thing. Okay. And I want you to send that on social media. And we're going to get into other things. I also want you to send the video to your entire database. Okay. Now, why is that important? Goes back to the 33 touch system. I did a training on this a few weeks back. You want to be able to contact buyers and sellers in your database 33 times over the span of a year. If you do that, 1 out of every 12 people in your database will transact. Okay. That's super important. It's an additional touch to your database, right? Also, so database, social media to start. Video. You want people to see your face. Trust me, I've been in the business 11 years. And 11 years ago, when I sold my first property, they probably forget who you are. They probably forget your face. You may lose weight. You may gain weight. Your face may change. You want to be sending them video content all the time. Okay. So that when they think about real estate, they think of your face, not just your name. Conduct a field study of the area. You want to study the demographic reports, parks, schools, public transit. You want to know everything about the neighborhood. What schools are around the neighborhood? Okay. Where are the bus stations? Where's the gyms? Where's everything? Because when it comes up in conversation, if somebody at the open house asks you, hey, what's the nearest school around? And you don't know, do you really think they're going to want to use you? Probably not. So conduct a field study of the area and look at the demographics of the area. Okay. So that's 5 days prior. 2 days prior. This is where things get interesting. I want you to door knock. Use this as a prospecting opportunity. I want you to think about something. People think door knocking is not very good. They're like, it's a waste of time. Does anybody know the average amount of years somebody lives in their property before they sell their property? If somebody knows, say it. It's 7 years. Okay. What does that mean? To me, what that means to me is if I knock on 7 or 8 doors, one of those people will likely want to make a move that year. Pretty crazy to think about, eh? One in every 7 to 8 people will want to make a move that year. It sounds crazy, but it's true. That's why door knocking is so powerful. Okay. So here's what you want to do. 2 days before the open house, you want to knock on the door of the entire street. Okay. So you want to knock on the door of the entire street. Say, hey, Steve Alexopoulos here, Northern Alliance, the Metro City Property Group. Hey, I'm doing an open house this Sunday, 2 to 4. It's just five houses down the street. It's a beautiful home. It's a detached home, just like yours. It's got 4 beds upstairs. It's got a finished basement. You want to sell the house. Just wondering, you think you could come make it? And they're going to say, yeah, maybe. Okay, great. Hey, looking forward to seeing you there. Leave all your information. Okay, they're going to come. Now, if they're saying they're not going to come, here's where you can show some value. You say, hey, we just listed this property. We're doing the open house. We're going to have a ton of buyers coming through the front door. Now, not all of those buyers are going to have the opportunity to buy that one specific home. But I noticed that your home is very similar. So we're going to have a lot of extra buyers that are going to be looking for a home. Have you ever considered selling your property? And then you're going to shut up. And they're going to say, no, not really. Maybe we're looking in the next few years, but blah, blah, blah. So they're going to kind of just give you a little bit of a story. Okay. And that's the time where you can talk about your VIP home hunter service or market evaluation. Say, hey, when the time is right, I would love to give you guys a market evaluation. I sell this many homes per year. I'm netting 2 to 3% more money on most of the properties that I'm selling. What I'll do is I can grab your information. So when the time comes right, I can definitely give you a call, or you can give me a call and we can set up that free market evaluation. If they say no, then say, hey, no worries. Okay. And then you go to the home hunter script. Okay. This is all scripted. Okay. So say, hey, would you like to receive my free monthly newsletter to keep in touch what's happening in the marketplace? Okay, no problem. Okay, great. Hey, what's your contact information so I can fire those market reports off to you? And that's how you gather the information. You can't gather information with somebody until you give them an offer, right? And to push it even further, once you get their information, hey, just curious, who else do you know that might be looking to buy or sell within the next year or so? I'm just going to turn this. Okay. So you gather information from people by giving them an offer. There's 2 offers. There's buyer offers and seller offers. Seller offer is free market evaluation. Buyer offer is home hunter service or monthly newsletter. You need to give them something of value so that they give you their information. It's called the law of reciprocity. I talk about it all the time. You give them something, they'll give you something back. But if you got nothing to give them, they're not going to give you anything back. Okay. Now, oops. I talked about door knocking the street. Let's talk about for sale by owners expires. Okay. This is an opportunity to talk to them as well. So for example, when a listing's expired. Now, you're not supposed to call expired listings, so don't call them. Okay, I'm not telling you to. I know this is recorded. I don't want to get myself in any trouble. But let's say you go to the house. It's expired. Okay, it happens to be. You don't know. Okay. You show up, you say, hey, I noticed you had a sign on the front of your lawn a few weeks ago, or a month ago, or 2 months ago. I noticed that the sign came down. I'm just kind of curious. We're doing we're doing an open house right down the road from you. We're getting a lot of activity already with the people I'm talking to. I'm just curious, are you still looking to sell your property? And then they'll say, we're thinking about putting it up in a month again. The other agent didn't do this for us, didn't do that for us. So here's what I'm doing. I'm using the open house as a foot in for expired listings. Maybe their agent that they once used, however long ago it was, didn't do any open houses. Now you're not only doing open houses, but you're door knocking the whole street and they see that. You're now not a reactive agent, you're a proactive agent. You're actually out there hunting for business and they see that, right? And sellers, especially ones who use an agent whose house didn't sell, they want aggressive agents. So you get into the conversation. Hey, any idea maybe why it hasn't sold, why it didn't sell? Okay, and then they open up. So notice how I'm using the open house to get listings or buyers from everywhere. It's a project. It's not like I'm taking it to a whole other level. I'm using it as a prospecting method to show value to potential buyers or potential sellers on why they should list with me. Okay, and you do the same thing with the for sale by owners. Knock on their door. They're not doing, for sale by owners aren't doing open houses. So you find the for sale by heirs around the area. Okay, there's should be a few. You door knock them. Hey, Steve Alexopoulos here, Metro City Property Group. We're doing an open house just about half a kilometer down the road. We're supposed to get a ton of activity there. Got a lot of buyers lined up. Just kind of curious. I noticed that you're looking to potentially sell your property on your own. How's that going so far? Okay. See how I'm leading in? I'm leading in with the open house. It's a reason for me to pitch my value to the potential client. Right? Say, hey, are you looking for a specific closing date? Have you gotten any offers so far? Have you got any showings? Right? And they start opening up, they start talking. And that's when you can try and set up an appointment. Okay. So you want to door knock expireds, door knock for sale by owners, and door knock the street. I'll do it. I'll do other trainings on this, but I just want to let you know that this is how you get your foot in the door using open houses for sale by owners and expireds. It's a reason for you to knock on their door. Otherwise, you don't have much of a reason, but if you have an open house that's around the area, it's a great reason to call them. And now you just let them know that you have potential buyers for their property. Right? Okay, I'm going to move on from that. I don't want to spend too much time on that because there's a lot to go over. But if you're curious on how to do it, send me a message and I can help you out. Okay. So 2 days prior to the open house. Day of the open house. Install in the morning, of course, or sometimes the night before, but in the morning, install 10 to 12 open house directional signs. Not 3, not 4. If you're going to only buy 3 signs because you want to save money, don't buy them at all. Like literally don't. Buy 10 minimum. Or just don't buy any and don't do them. If you're going to do it properly. Don't half-ass it. Okay. 10 to 12 directional signs. If you want to take things a step further, put a balloon on the sign. There's been studies done. More signs you have, the nicer they look, the more people that come to the open house. I'm not just making this stuff up. Repost your promotional video. Different one this time. Hey, today I'm doing an open house at 123 Main Street. It's a beautiful home. You sell the house. Looking forward to seeing you guys there. It's Sunday 2 to 4. Boom, shoot it out on your social media. Shoot it out on your database. Okay. 3, reconnect with anyone you met while door knocking to remind them of the open house. Okay. This is where we're going to get into some detail on what happens at the open house. Okay. Now you're in there. If you'd like, put out some coffee, some cookies. It's always a nice little touch. Okay. I don't always do that, but you can if you want. Now, when the guest comes in, you want to greet yourself, of course, and you need to have a guest sign-up sheet. On the sign-up sheet, it needs to have their name, number, email, and what agent they are working. What are you working with an agent? And then agent's name. And even if they put a name, you're still going to ask them after if they have an agent. I'll explain why a little bit later. Okay. Now they're going to come in. You're going to explain the home to them. And you're going to ask them if they would prefer to walk through on their own, or if you want to walk them through the house. Okay. And then you're going to prepare them. You say, hey, listen, take a walk through the house. It's a beautiful, beautiful home. When you're done walking around, I'd like to collect some feedback, what you think in terms of the finishings, the price, just so I have a better idea of what exactly it is that you're looking for, but also, I want to be able to give my sellers feedback as well. Sound fair enough? Yeah. Okay, good. Now they walk through the house, they come back. The first thing you do is you want to ask them what they thought about the house. It'll help you determine their criteria. Also, it helps the seller with pricing. But while you're there, you want to gather what exactly it is that they're looking for. Okay. So you ask them, hey, just curious, what were your first impressions? It was kind of nice, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what were your thoughts on the finishings? What are your thoughts on the size? What are your thoughts on the location? How's the house present itself? Also price. So compared to what you've seen, what do you think about the price? Now, I'm going to rewind a bit. Before you even ask those questions, the first question you ask is, hey, after you ask these questions, you want to find out, are they working with an agent? Determine if the visitor is working with an agent. Now, did they not write it down on a piece of paper? Yeah, maybe. But as a lot of people have heard before, buyers are liars. Okay, buyers are liars. A lot of the time, they'll just tell you they're working with an agent on paper so that you won't bug them. But you're going to dig a little deeper. You're going to say, hey, just curious, are you working with any agent currently? Oh, yeah, I'm working with this one guy, Todd. Okay. Okay, perfect. Have you been looking at a lot of homes with Todd? Have you signed any paperwork with Todd? Now, that's the key question. Not are you working with an agent? It's have you signed paperwork with an agent? A lot of these people have looked at homes with an agent, but they haven't signed anything. They haven't signed anything, nothing's official. They are yours for the taking. Somebody asked, where do you find for sale by owners? You can find them everywhere. Find them on Kijiji. Find them on the Quebec People du Proprio. It's great. There's a whole bunch. It's easy to find. What other questions were there? Okay. Now, they're not working with an agent. Describe the house. Tried selling it to them. Now they don't, let's say they want, if they obviously want the house, you freaking take out your agreement of purchase and sell them the house. But if they don't, what do? You Here's where the qualifying questions come in. This is really, really important. If you're going to take anything from this entire presentation, take this. There's a way to ask the questions, because nobody thinks about the selling portion. That's the problem. So, hey, just curious, are you folks planning on making the move in the next 3 to 6 months? So let's say, let's give an example. Yeah, we're looking to make the move in the next 3 to 4 months. Okay, perfect. That's great. Do you currently rent or do you own your own home? Okay. Now, let's say they own their own home. Okay. Simple. Okay, great. Would you prefer to buy first, or would you prefer to sell your home first? Now, this is where you can skip a whole bunch of stuff. Okay. They don't like the house, want to see a different house, but they have a home they have to sell first before they buy it. What do? I want to get your opinion so you guys can turn your volume up. Let's say they tell you they want to sell before they buy. What are you going to do?
Try to
Anybody?
book them for a listing appointment.
Yeah. Right away. At that point, we can go straight for it. Okay. So it's simple. You just ask for a free. So the way I would ask it is, hey, would you like a free market evaluation to determine what your home would sell for? Also, I can give you tips on what to do and what not to do to sell your home for the most amount of money. And we can go over various closing costs that you would incur so that you know exactly what'll be left in your pocket after all expenses. Totally free of charge, obligates you to nothing. How does that sound? Does that sound helpful? What would be a better time to meet? Are days or evenings usually better for you? Okay, right to it. Ask for the appointment right there. Okay. Let's do another scenario. Let's say they want to rent. Now, remember, this is the general guidelines. Conversations don't always go exactly according to script. I'm just giving you the guideline on where to go based on what they say. Okay. So let's say now, hey, you folks planning on moving in the next 3 to 6 months? Yeah, we're looking to move in 4 months. Okay, do you currently rent or do you own? Hey, currently rent. Okay. Oh, great. Hey, are you planning on staying in the area or are you looking specifically in this area? If you were to move, do you think it would be here? Is there any other areas that you think would be of interest to you? Okay. Now, do you have a realtor? We already went over that. Now, this is why it's important to have a few things. If you have off-market properties, that's the best case scenario. Okay. If your team has off-market properties, that's the best case scenario. So you want to have an active list, sold list, average days on market with you already. Okay. Now, you want to show them, hey, I think it'd be a great idea. You mentioned that, you didn't like the pool or you wanted 4 beds instead of 5. This property right here just came up a few days ago. It actually has 5 bedrooms. It's fresh to the market. Not sure if you've seen this one, but I think it'd be a great idea for us to go check it out. On top of that, based on the amount of volume we do, we have a lot of off-market properties that come up all the time. We obviously just give them to our VIP clients. And those are some of the properties that we'd be able to put in front of you as well. I think it'd be a great idea. Instead of just emailing you all these updates all the time, we could get together for about 20 minutes and take down exactly what you're looking for in person. While I'm there, I can show you exactly how my team does business. I think you'll be super impressed. And we can put those, some of those off-market properties in front of you as well. So you want to kind of like dangle a carrot a little bit. Okay. Now, if you don't have off-market properties, there's a lot of sites online on Facebook that have off-market properties there. Those are some additional properties that you can show them. But nobody thinks about doing this, right? A lot of the time they've maybe already seen these properties you're talking about. So you need something unique, right? Any questions on that? No?
What do you say when people don't want to sign the signing sheet?
Great question. Hey, I totally understand you don't want to sign the sign-in sheet. However, it's mandatory. The seller, she's a little bit concerned, for safety precautions in regard to safety precautions. So they want to know exactly, who came through the front door. I'm sure if it was your home, you probably want to know exactly who came into your home as well. So, it's mandatory to sign in. If you really don't want, you don't have to put your name or number. But we need to know exactly who came through the front door. To be honest, I wouldn't even say the no name or number. I would want to see the name and number there. But you have to let them know that it's a safety concern. They're coming into somebody else's house. Like, it's not like a maybe thing. Oh, if they don't want to sign in the sign-in sheet and they refuse to do it, then kick them out of the house. It's not their house. And obviously, you don't want to say
mandatory.
You need to know, the seller needs to know who came into their house. Like, what happens if something gets stolen? You know what I mean? Then you're on the line. Like, you want to make sure, and you do it in a nice way. You don't, like, I sounded like a little aggressive there, but I would just say, hey, totally understand. A lot of people don't like giving out their information. It's just a safety concern. And the sellers are, they're making it mandatory to sign in just because they want to know. And I'm not saying, of course, you would ever do anything to the home, but there's been instances where things like that have happened. So the seller just requires that they know exactly who went through the home. As I'm sure if it was your home, you'd want to know who was going through your home as well. That's it.
What about I was going to say that I think it is mandatory with RICO for everyone to sign in.
Yeah, just let them know it's mandatory. That's all.
Yeah. And
if you
also, what
refuse
about
after you say that, then they're not going to walk through. That's it.
Yeah. Also, I just reached out to my mortgage broker and said, can you do me up a sheet? Like, how much would you have to put a down payment on this home? So she's prepared a sheet for the open house.
So I was going to get to that as well. So another one of the pre-qualifying questions is, have you been pre-approved? Okay. So if they have been pre-approved, what do? You ask them who they're approved with. Oh, I'm just approved with my bank. Right? Say, hey, you know what? If you're open to it, we have an in-house mortgage specialist. They can actually get loans from 40 to 50 different lenders. So the good news is you'd be able to get different rates, some better rates at different banks that they have access to. Also, there might be certain situations where they can do different types of financing for you, whereas a bank would only be able to do one. So would it be helpful for me to put you in touch with one of our top mortgage brokers? So yeah, sure, blah, blah, blah. Then you just get their number, and then your mortgage broker can call them too. And guess who your mortgage broker is going to pitch? They're going to try and get you to do the deal. You have to use the mortgage broker to get it's easier to get a deal done when the mortgage broker's on your side. Always. Okay. So what did you say, Natalie? You said you have a sign-in sheet with the broker?
No, I was saying, I was just agreeing about sign-in sheet is mandatory with RICO, I believe. And then I was also saying that I had my mortgage broker do up a sheet, and at the top it says, how much do you have to have for a down payment to buy this home? And she kind of like does a whole cost sheet for them.
Nice.
So it helps them out, and then her card's there. I've also asked her for this weekend to attend the open house, right?
Mhm.
Because if it gets busy, she can man the
Why
door,
not?
and then
Yeah, a great tag team.
yeah.
Why not? So you want to pre-qualify. Oh, Kayvon.
Hey, so I'm a relatively new agent and I've done probably like one or two open houses. What would you say is the best way to handle like a large group of people coming in to the open houses as a newcomer? Do you kind of just let them look at the house themselves and check in on them, or would you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Make sure you get the information, let them do the walkthrough. As they're coming back, gather feedback, get quick to the script, set appointments, gather information. Next. It happens fast. That's why you want to get straight to the point. But
Okay.
also you can funnel based on what they write on it, you can funnel out who are the real serious ones. And if it's
Mhm.
impossible to get to all of them because it's just totally hectic, you want to
Yeah.
focus on the ones that obviously don't have realtors, or at least say they don't. But yeah, you can't just walk with one person at a time at that point.
Mhm.
It's
Okay.
impossible. There's just too many
Okay.
people. So focus on feedback, qualification, and if they're like, they don't like the house and they're not, they're have an agent they're signed with, like, boom, next one. Like, you're not there to lose money, you're there to make money. So, you're obviously trying to sell the house for the sellers, but you're also not there to waste your time.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Um, so I want to emphasize the importance of pushing for an appointment, because like, here's the problem is that when they go to open houses, they go to like, a lot of the times they go to like 2, 3 different open houses, right? So they're going to have a lot of different agents calling them on Monday morning, right? So there's a few things I want to talk about there. You push for the appointment every single time, every time, because you're going to stand out, right? Especially if they have a house to sell. You got to set the appointment like that day. And if you don't, instead of following up Monday morning like everybody else does, follow up Sunday night, Sunday at 6 or 7. Like, just call them, stand out. Because Monday, there's going to be a whole bunch of different people calling them. You want to stand out from the competition. Try your hardest to set the appointment. You can't set the appointment, call them that same night. Sounds aggressive, but like, this is what it takes to do well in real estate. Like, you need to stand out. And if you don't, you're just going to be like most agents that just, they don't push enough. Any other questions on that? So I want to do a quick little recap. Well, first, after the open house, okay. So you're listing, call your seller, provide an update on the open house, obviously. Add all the attendees to your CRM and email them to thank them for attending, and continue to follow up until closed. If you need more information from some of the properties, reach out to the other agents as well. After the open house, pick up the sign-in sheets, printouts, reports, feature books, collect all the open house signs, send feedback to the listing coordinator, listing agent. So now, what I'm going to say is different from what I'm saying compared to what most people say. Is like, I don't focus as much on the open house as I do before the open house. So I use the open house as a prospecting tool. And this, I can guarantee you 99% of people don't do. They don't do it enough. They just do the open house. They wake up on Sunday, they're hungover, They're like, you know, I gotta put a sign out, and then they go to the open house and they're not in the game. The open house is a project. It's a week-long affair. And if you're not willing to do that, don't do it at all because you're wasting your time. Make it worth it. Okay. The second thing I really want to stress about is the door knocking. Use it as an opportunity to get FaceTime with potential clients. Remember, 1 out of 7 people or 1 out of 7 people will likely want to move that year. Use the open house as a reason to invite them to the open house. They're not looking to sell right away or not looking to buy, get them on a market newsletter to gather their information. Remember, you're giving them something. Free Market Watch newsletter for their area. What are they going to give you in return? Their information. Now you've got somebody to add to your database that you can touch 33 times in a year through email, marketing, call, text, and potentially do a deal with them. At some point, whether that's in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, doesn't matter. You need to put them into your CRM and follow up. You have a reason to call them, okay? So law of reciprocity, you give them that something, they give you something back. Door knock for sale by owners in the area. Door knock expireds in the area. Like you're pretty much like you're advertising the other open house, but it's also an advertisement for how hard of a worker you are. They know you're door knocking on behalf of them. How many people do that? Not many. They want an aggressive agent. They want somebody that's going to sell their house next time. That's why expires and for sale by owners are so freaking good. They're good to talk to on the phone. It's even better FaceTime. My first year in real estate, I was door knocking expireds every single day between 4 and 7 p.m. every day. And before that, I was calling for sale by owners and other leads. I was prospecting all day, whether it was door knocking or calling. Now you're just using this open house to do the same thing, but now you have a reason to do it. It's not cold anymore, right? And people are interested about the properties in their neighborhood. They want to see them. You know what I mean? Like they want to know what they're selling for, because that's their biggest asset is their house. So they want to know what everything is selling for. They want the market watch reports. They want maybe to see the house. And the more you're in their face, the higher of a chance that they're going to work with you, whether it's now or sometime down the road. So 5 days prior to the open house, install open house topper, social media content. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, boost the ad, database. Okay. Field study of the area. Demographics, parks, schools, public transit. Future developments. Are they going to be building anything around in the next little while? 2 days prior to the open house, the door knocks I just talked about. Okay. Do you have the open house, 10 to 12 open house signs? Repost a promotional video, a new video, sorry. Reconnect with anyone you met while you were door knocking. During the open house, arrive 30 minutes early, set up all refreshments if you have them, prepare all the sheets, all the demographic reports, turn on the lights, welcome everyone, ask if they would prefer a tour or if that they want to walk around on their own, let them know exactly what's going to be happening. You're going to do a little walkthrough. Hey, super excited that you're at this property. Take a little walk around like you mentioned you wanted to do. Once that's done, I want you to provide some feedback so I know exactly what it is that you're looking for, and I can provide feedback to my seller. Sound fair enough? Yes, they've agreed to it. Great. Now it's guaranteed conversation. Feedback questions. What are your first impressions? Thoughts on the finishing, size, location, presentation, price? After the feedback's done, get into the scripting. They have a house they have to sell. They have to sell first. You hop on that freaking freehold market evaluation. If not, you engage further, ask more questions about what it is that they're looking for, set up appointment, whether it's on the seller side or the buyer side. Okay. offer your home hunter service, talk about potential off-market properties that might be coming up. After it's done, add everybody to CRM. Call your seller to provide update, continue to follow up until close, reach out and if any other agents have more information that you might need, pick up the signs, collect open house signs, send feedback to listing coordinator. And that is it. Now, I'm going to open it up for some questions. Probably covered a lot. It's been exactly 45 minutes. So, any questions? Ready to fire. And if there's no questions, that's okay too. But what I want to get at is that I really didn't like doing open houses. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not an open house fanatic. I'll be even more honest with you. I hate doing open houses. I hated them the most because what would happen was I would just put a sign up, show up to the open house. My head wasn't in the game. It wasn't until I started using the open house for a prospecting tool that things started to get crazy. That's when I started liking doing the open houses because I was more of a prospector than a floor time agent. So there's floor time agents that they wait for people to come to them. And then there's prospecting agents. I go to you. So think about the open house. It's floor time, people come to you. But if you can flip it and have it where people are coming to you and you're going to them, you're going to get way more people at the open house. And even if they don't come to the open house, you still use them. You still use that open house to prospect them, to put them in your database, follow up, get appointments, whether that's from just around the neighborhood for sale by owners or expireds. So I was using the open houses to have a reason to connect with expireds for sale by owners and the neighborhood. I was using it as a reason. And I had more successful open houses because of it. But more importantly, way more importantly, for my own business, I was able to create a way bigger database because of those open houses. And I was able to set appointments with expireds for sale by owners. Like, people just think about an open house as an open house, like just people come by. Like, the good agents use the open house to get as many people in their database as possible and to get as many appointments possible using those methods with the for sale by owners, expireds, and around the neighborhood. If you're not willing to do stuff like that, like, it's good for the client and you're probably going to get some success, but you're not going to be able to really like squeeze all the juice out of the lemon. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to do an open house and you're going to be putting all this time and effort into the open house, don't you want to like you got 2 hours, like, don't you want to maximize like that whole process? And even if nobody shows up to the open house, worst case scenario, at least then you'll have still had the opportunity to talk all to these other people. So it wasn't a waste of time. Otherwise, it's going to be a waste of time. Because if nobody shows up, hypothetically speaking, nobody shows up to this open house, so what? I already talked to like 20 people that I door knocked. Okay. I actually got 2 appointments from it. So what if nobody shows up? I'm not mad. I'm happy because I use that open house to get those other appointments. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but
I've done it the 2 ways, where I prepare and where I don't prepare. And yeah, when I don't prepare, it's such a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself the question before you schedule the open house. Don't just schedule it and show up. You have to ask yourself the question, am I willing to put effort into this open house? Am I willing to do some things that might be uncomfortable? Remember, when you do things that are uncomfortable, you get rewarded way more, right? You want to start feeling comfortable with being uncomfortable. And then big things will happen. I promise. It's the law of the universe. Everything that's hard usually has the best reward. Things that are easy usually doesn't have that much of a reward. It's easy to just sit in the house and wait. but it's not easy to door knock the street. It's not easy to door knock a for sale by owner. So you think you're gonna have more results by the easy part or the hard part? It's like, I mean, I like to give the gym analogy, like, you know, you're gonna have more results doing a hard workout with deadlifts, squats, a whole bunch of stuff, or, you know, if you just go to the gym and, you know, you maybe just do this a few times and that a few times and then go home. The hard workout is gonna produce more results than the easy one. It's like that in life with anything. So go the extra mile, put time and effort into it, and you're gonna get good results. But be prepared to do it. Don't just do it to do it. Any questions or comments? I don't see any. I think that'll be it then, guys. Unless you guys have any questions, I'll give you 5 more seconds. 5, 4. Okay,
Thank
guys,
you.
thank you. So before everyone leaves, we're having a big event, May 23rd. We're going to be we have some huge speakers coming in town from Boston, from the States. There's going to be more details to follow, but we have some big speakers coming. So looking forward to seeing you guys there. We're going to be doing it at the Brook Street Hotel, May 23rd. Put it in your calendar. More details to come.